Howdy again, everybody. This is Doc from ThoroughFan coming to you with the Name Behind the Race segment, and this week we are heading back to New York for their Stars and Stripes Festival. I am actually up in New York. I'm currently sitting in a room that my father has created. It is a wonderful racing room filled with tons of different photos that he's taken, some racing memorabilia that he's collected throughout the years and that I've collected as well. He was the one that introduced me to the great sport of racing, so it's always great to come back here and hang out in this room a little bit, just soak in some of the history and really, relive some of those great races that have gone on, both in photo and memorabilia. And as I said, we are going to be looking at a race that is happening on the Stars and Stripes program at Belmont on Saturday. It is the Dwyer, and a lot of races, are named for very famous people, owners, things like that. And this race is no different, as really the Dwyer brothers are a very fascinating duo when you really kind of break it down. And I'm about to break it down a little bit for you as we look at the name behind the race. Horse racing owners come from all walks of life, and for Mike and Phil Dwyer, that journey into racehorse ownership started after they turned the small butcher shop they inherited from their father into a very successful wholesale meat packaging company that supplied many of the butcher shops and hotels on the East Coast. Mike is pictured here, but though try as I might, I was not able to locate a photo of Phil. Turning their attention to the racing world with their newfound fortunes, the boys from Brooklyn built up what some consider to be one of, if not the most successful racing stable of the late 19th and early 20th centuries. They also were some of the primary investors in the creation of the Brooklyn Jockey Club that built the now defunct Gravesand racetrack on Coney Island. Dwyer Brothers silks would adorn the winners of many classic races in those great racing years, and they were not afraid to run their horses often to maximize their profits at the track through betting. In fact, one of the greatest racehorses, and considered to be one of, if not the best racehorse of the 19th century, Hindu, was reported to have won 20 races in a row in a span of just 4.5 months. How many top horses today even make 20 starts in their entire career? In addition to Hindu, some of their other top-class runners included Hanover, Luke Blackburn, and Ben Brush. The stable won 2 Kentucky Derbies, a Preakness, and 5 runnings each of the Belmont Stakes and Travers in their own home state. Oddly enough, though, the boys from Brooklyn were never able to win the top race named for their hometown, the Brooklyn Handicap. While their stable was winning top races on the track, the boys weren't exactly winning many friends off of it. Mike was known for his incredibly large wagers that he would often place on the races, sometimes wagering so much that he in essence paralyzed the wagering pools. A known chalk player, it had been established by the time of his death, Mike had lost almost all the money he'd ever made, and an astonishing, for the time period, $1.5 million just betting on favorites alone. A funny story about Mike that has been told is that while he was giving an interview to a reporter, an aide came by and told him that he had just lost $20,000 on a horse he bet to win. Who didn't? His response? Horses can be a persnickety bunch. Not sure I would have had the same response to that. Not popular in the racing world, you ask? Well, in the late 1800s, the controlling body in racing was known as the Racing Trust. Most preferred to call it the Board of Control. Prominent on this board were the 2 Dwyer brothers and another New Yorker named John A. Morris. Many local trainers and horsemen started to complain that the brothers were acting more in their own self-interest than the interest of the sport in general to prevent competition and ensure improving their bottom line. Some prominent owners soon agreed with them, and thus the body that we know today as the Jockey Club was formed. To the chagrin of many, though, the brothers were still given membership in the newly formed group. The brothers had a bit of a falling out and went their separate ways in 1890 as the racing partnership was dissolved. Mike still went on to have a good deal of success in the racing game, but just could not shake the gambling demons and died a relatively poor man in 1906. Phil lived until 1917 and enjoyed racing horses more for the sport and pure enjoyment of it. He went on to be involved in other racing ventures, including working as the president of the new Aqueduct racetrack in Queens until the time of his death. Many of the improvements he made to that track helped it gain the national prominence it developed throughout the 20th century as a major racetrack in New York. After Philip's death in 1917, the Brooklyn Derby was renamed the Dwyer Stakes in honor of the brothers who had controlled so much in racing over their lives. An important race for 3-year-olds, it has been run at distances ranging from 1 mile to 1.5 miles. It has also spent time at various racetracks since its inception, starting at the old Gravesand racetrack, then moving to the old Aqueduct racetrack, then to the Jamaica racetrack, then the current Aqueduct racetrack, and finally settling in at its current home of Belmont Park since 1977. Many famous horses have won the Dwyer during the racing campaigns, including the great Man o' War, Mr. Longtail, Whirlaway, the Pride of Texas Triple Crown winner Assault, the Grey Ghost Native Dancer, the lightly raced but highly regarded O'Gygian, and the recently departed Holy Bull. Today, it serves as an important stakes race for 3-year-olds starting off the second season, as we call it, on their march towards the Breeders' Cup.
Well, there you go, everybody. Everything you kind of wanted to know as we take a little bit of a peek into the history of the Dwyer, and especially the interesting history of the Dwyer brothers in regards to all the things that they were involved in right at the turn of the 20th century. In a lot of ways, not very well liked by a lot of people in the industry as well. So as you can tell, races have names for people that are loved and hated sometimes in the racing world. So that's about going to do it for this week's segment of The Name Behind the Race. If anybody is at Belmont tomorrow or in the area, I certainly encourage you guys to come out. It certainly should be a great day of racing on their Stars and Stripes program, and certainly I'll be there. If you happen to see me, stop by, say hello, we'll talk some horses, and hopefully make a little bit of money. If you happen to have a race that you're curious of the name behind or the history behind, be sure to drop us a line here at Thoroughfan. I'll be happy to research it for you. You never know, it might end up on a future segment. I'm Doc for Thoroughfan, and we will see you next time once again on The Name Behind the Race.
If you're an incredibly passionate thoroughbred racing fan and want to find a whole bunch of people that are just like you, why not check out Thoroughfan at thoroughfan.com. Sign up to become a member, get our amazing weekly newsletter, and learn everything and anything there is to know about this amazing sport we call thoroughbred horse racing. Thoroughfan, giving the fans a voice.